Okay, so I've watched the long-awaited film Firebrand, and here are my thoughts. Spoiler alert, of course, if you haven't yet watched the film and don't want any spoilers, swipe away now. Okay, so for me, this film, all in all, was a disappointment. There were, of course, many pros to this film, one of which, of course, is the fashion, which we'll talk about, but there was just so many inaccuracies that, in my opinion, were completely unnecessary and completely ridiculous. Yes, I know that it is based on Tudor history, therefore there will be creative liberties taken, and I know that it is also based on a book, The Queen's Gambit. I have not read the book myself, so I do not know how much it deviated from the book, but just personally, I didn't enjoy the changes that they made because, like I say, they were ridiculous. So let's start with the pros. Henry, my God. Jude Law did an absolutely amazing job as Henry. He isn't my favourite, but he's a close second. He did phenomenally. And of course, the fashion. Look at this. Look at this. This was perfection. It looks exactly like one of his many portraits. It is just chef's kiss. Of course, also the French hood. This is probably the first time the French hood is depicted accurately in films or TV shows, where it has the little elastic underneath the chin, which is why a lot of the portraits show that the women had a double chin. It wasn't that they had a double chin necessarily, it was simply because this elastic was digging in, and that is the effect it gave in portraits. And this is perfect. Another thing I really liked was Elizabeth. Elizabeth was perfect to me. She looked exactly like her. She actually came across, you know, a little bit fearful. Of course, she was aware of her mother, and she did mention that she was fearful that she would end up the same way as her mother, which I'm sure was a real emotion that Elizabeth had in reality. She was, of course, scared for her life a lot of the time, especially seeing in the end how Henry became. Shout out to Mary as well. This isn't my favourite representation of Mary, but it was okay. Going back to Henry, I just want to point out that he just went above and beyond as well to really portray Henry, not just for us on screen, but on set as well. There was an interview where Jude Law admits to having had a special perfume made that smelt of feces, blood, pus. It was just rank. Because of course this is really what Henry will have smelt like in the last few years of his life, where he was sick and his leg was ulcerous. Oh, and just by the way, speaking of the leg, we get a full shot of his leg. It is gross. It is perfection. It is probably exactly what it looked like. Gross. Now, on to the cons. I really heavily disliked this storyline that they chose to take, where Catherine Parr apparently gets pregnant. Yes, I know, I also deviated from certain truths in my books about the Tudor era, but this one was just so unnecessary, and to me also just doesn't do Catherine Parr justice. Catherine Parr becoming pregnant when Henry VIII starts to be annoyed with her, to me, does her an injustice, because in reality, Catherine Parr survived him not because she skated by on just coincidentally getting pregnant and all these other things. She outwitted him. She was smart, and she was able to save herself with those smarts, not because she had a potential heir in her belly. Another thing that I just cannot accept is that when Catherine Parr is pregnant, Henry VIII supposedly goes manic at her. He beats her up. He throws her down on the floor. She has a bloodied nose. This is while she's pregnant. And this just would never have happened. Everything Henry VIII did, from breaking from the Catholic Church, marrying 6 wives, it was in the pursuit of male heirs. He had one, Edward, but if another one was perhaps in his wife's belly, there is absolutely no way in hell that he would have put that baby at risk. It's just, that was ludicrous to me. But ultimately, it was the very final 5-10 minutes of the film which just really ruined it for me. And this is because it shows Catherine Parr not only getting actually arrested, which in reality never actually happened. She never got fully arrested. It was just threatened. But that is not the main thing. The main thing that I could just not accept is that Catherine then goes on to murdering Henry VIII. It shows her going into his bedchambers. He is on his final days. He's very sick. He's lying there in his bed. And it shows her suffocating him, breaking his windpipe, whatever. It showed a struggle, and she kills him. And it was just absolutely ludicrous. As well as killing him, she also got away with it, apparently. Nothing happened to her. She didn't get executed. And yeah, she just got away scotch-free, killing the King of England. It was just, what? But anyway, those are just my opinions. You know, I'm a stickler for things being accurate. So obviously go watch yourself. Let me know in the comments what you thought and enjoy.